Hey guys, day, what are we on? 222, I believe. It's about 1 in the afternoon. I'm actually just kind of waking up here. I just had my coffee while still having the first cup. I was up till about 5 o'clock last night. Sometimes I get these ideas in my head late at night and there's just no going to sleep until I think about it some more. But anyway, about 12:30 last night, did some postings. I'm sitting there at the computer and I just had this idea for a product and just couldn't get it out of my head. So I worked for about 4 hours in the middle of the night coming up with prototypes and actually built a proof of concept. And I don't know, maybe something will come of it. I don't really want to talk about it too much, but if I can get something working for the photography industry, I think it would be something really cool. I've done this kind of stuff before, and I just give away the plans. I'll probably do that again, but it would be something that I could use, and I know a lot of other photographers around here could use, and I don't know, it could be something really helpful. But anyway, I did build one, but it was over $400 in parts, so that is a no-go. So I got to figure out in my spare time how to get that really cheap and still stay functional. But I was kind of excited when I built this thing and it was sitting here at 5 in the morning. I'm like, wow, this could be really useful in some situations. Anyway, so I'm kind of refreshed now. There's no bathroom work going on for at least a few days. What did he say? I think he was planning on coming back late in the week because he was going to these other little small jobs between now and then. And someone asked me, how's he doing these other jobs with all his tools over here? He doesn't have all his tools over here. He's got his tile saw and his big mixing drill and the stuff that he's doing for this project, but he's got his whole car is filled with tools. So he's got duplicates of stuff. He's told me while he was here that the other day when he went to do another small job, he had left a tool he needed here, so he had to go buy another one. He's got a lot of duplicate stuff like that. So, yeah, he's wasted a lot of money that way, but whatever. Anyway, he's got enough to do what he does, or he has to buy more. So that's how he's doing it, with tools in more than one place. But anyway, I'm not worried about it. There's plenty of stuff here. He's not going to skip town. I'm not worried about that at all. Not like the roofer guy. What a jackass. Anyway, today I am wrapping up the shoot for this small batch of cigars. I only did, I don't know, a couple hours worth yesterday. There's really no big rush because I know they're not going to have the next batch for several days at least. I told them it'd be done by Tuesday, and that was being very conservative. But anyway, there's like, I don't know, 3-4 hours max in the whole project for this batch. Maybe an hour, hour and a half of shooting, and then a little bit of editing. So I got a little list of projects I want to do today. First is I want to sharpen some of my knives. This guy here, the Spyderco Native, is what I use every day for just opening packages, basically. And it's been opening all the cello on the cigar boxes, and it's just my nice little utility knife. Fits my hand really well. It's light, very strong, and when it's sharp, really sharp. But it's not getting that sharp. It's kind of struggling to cut through packing tape. I mean, there's all kinds of debris and gunk and everything on the blade. But I'm not an expert knife guy. I'm not an expert knife sharpener. If you want to see all about that kind of stuff, head on over to a YouTube channel by Cutlery Lover, and he's got all the super instructions for sharpening and everything. He uses the stones, and he gets everything super duper sharp. But I just have a electric kitchen sharpener, and it works very well for me. It doesn't work perfectly. It certainly doesn't work with every type of knife. Luckily for this guy, it'll get right up until about the last couple centimeters. Yeah, about 1 centimeter, I guess. About that much, because it will hit on the thicker parts going through the electric part. But it works great, and I want to sharpen my big chef's knife because that is starting to probably not dull. It's probably needing a honing, but I'd rather just run it through a pass on the electric sharpener anyway. Honing, if you're not familiar, is not sharpening. I hate it when people say that things are self-sharpening. Let me show you. Okay, for example, this is a cigar cutter, and what you have are 2 sets of blades. It's a little dusty, so it doesn't open up very easily. You can tell I don't use this one at all. You can see the rings of dust and grime and dirt in there. Most of that's from the house construction. I haven't cleaned this yet. But anyway, you've got two sets of blades. There goes my voice. Two sets of blades. And they just come together to cut the cigar. So you've got these cutting edges right here on the curved surface of the blades, and they rub up against each other, right? And these are advertised all over the place as self-sharpening. You never have to sharpen it. It's complete BS. They are not self-sharpening in any sense of the word. At best, they're half self-honing. Sharpening is when you have a pointed tip. You have a perfect pointed tip. All right? That is a sharp edge. This is the profile. You know what? Let me draw it for you. Okay. We'll pretend we're looking straight down the knife, all right? When you have a nice point, that is a sharp edge. What happens when knives get dull is that edge gets flattened, rounded, or broken. All right? So you lose the pointed, sharp part. The only way to sharpen a knife, if it's dulled like this, is to remove material, to put it through a knife sharpener, grind away this part, cut away this part, and get yourself back to this. What honing does, if you use a knife, especially on sharp objects like bones, you start out with a nice sharp knife. What can happen is this tip at certain points, it'll get nicks in it, and it'll bend over to one side, like that. Okay, so instead of coming to a nice sharp point, it's bent over. It's still sharp, it's just pointing the other way. You can go left or right, depends on what you hit. So if you chop down with a knife, you're hitting right on that little sharp end, and it'll move it over. This is what a steel is for. That's what you see, that chefs are using, and they're running the knife over the steel, which is just a long rod of steel. It's pushing this back straight. You're just lining everything back up. Okay, that's called honing. And that's what things like that cigar cutter can sort of do. As they close, they can kind of sort of self-hone and put themselves back to straight. But they can't do anything to bend it back. Like if you were to cut something really hard with a cigar cutter, yeah, it's going to bend up those tips really bad. And if they bent out, the blades aren't touching because the other one's coming from this side. If they're bent out this way, nothing's going to hone them back. If it's bent in, the other blade will push it back straight. But you can see they're not self-sharpening. So anyway, what I need to do is, because my blades are actually dull, the tip is rounded off, I need to run them through a sharpener, which is going to remove material. It's an electric diamond sharpener, and that'll get me my nice tip. Well, the mail just came, and there was so much stuff in there, so many boxes, that they had to use a container to put it up on the porch. I got in a PayPal card, and I've had PayPal for many, many years, and I use it a lot, but I've never had a PayPal card, and I never got one because I never needed it. But I got one because Home Depot, coincidentally, just started a promotion where you can pay at the Home Depot store with your PayPal account if you have one of these. And if the first time you do, you get $5 back. So I figured, hey, I can save $5 because I'm going to Home Depot like crazy. I ordered this a week and a half ago, and it just came today. So I don't know how useful it's going to be. I have one more purchase to make that I know of, and that's some trim over here for the living room. I've got to repair this wall because this is where the original water damage from the shower was on the other side. Shower's in that corner right there. That's my exterior room, that's my shower. So I've got some new cord around, and I got enough to do this whole strip. I got to take off this little piece here because it turns out the flooring company I used that put down this cord around didn't use a standard size. They use their own stuff, so you have to buy it from them. It's slightly larger, just a few millimeters than what you can get in the store. So I'm going to have it meet at the corner. You'll never see it. Nobody cares. So I'm going to replace this whole long piece, a quarter round. I got those in the garage. But I need to replace this the white trim because it's all completely rotted out and the termites ate it. And this here just, I mean, the paint was there, but there wasn't any wood left, and this is the same way for a few feet. So I need to replace this whole piece here, and I didn't get it yet because I need to cut a little cross section to see exactly which one will fit and match, because I do want to match this wall here and that wall down there, at least as close as I can get. You know, like I said, you're not really going to notice if it's off a little bit, but I do want to get it close. And this piece should be like 15 bucks. You know, they're not that expensive just to buy it primed, ready to paint. And I got some leftover white paint because I just painted these rooms. So I'll be getting $5 off of it using this. That's pretty much the only thing I'm going to use this card for. Oh, and the other thing, the reason they had to use a big container is because I got in a ton of entries for my Cigar Obsession cigar lottery. People, if you're not familiar with it, can send in 2 or 4 cigars and they get entered in my contest. And these are all the entry slips. And man, it was a stack of boxes. So I have to do an update video on that today because we're about a quarter of the way through this particular lottery, and I do an update video, the first 3 quarters and then the drawing. So it's time for that. Here I've got my sharpener. It's a Chef's Choice brand, and you can get these at any real kitchen store. They're nothing special. I think this one was $50, somewhere right around there. It's not their most basic model, but it's not their expensive one either. It works very simply. You have an on-off switch. There's suction cups on the feet, so that allows you to use it without it sliding all over the place. You have a rough and a fine cut section. What you're going to do is run your knife through the rough cut section, and it really depends on how bad the knife is, the exact shape of the starting blade, how many times you're going to run it through. The instructions will give you a general idea. I've found that 3 or 4 passes through the rough cut and then another 2 to 3 through the fine cut works really well for me. This one is a little difficult to use because it's all manual. You have to really regulate the pressure, and it takes some experimentation to figure out exactly how much pressure, what angle to get. This has some magnets here on these surfaces, so it will hold the knife at a slope. It's not perfectly straight up and down, it holds it to the side. And the idea is you're supposed to let the magnets keep it positioned and just drag it through like that. And you want just enough downward pressure with your thumb to keep it from chattering. You do not want to be pushing this into the diamond cutters. You want them to do all the cutting from the sides, and they will do it. You just have to trust it. And here you can see why it doesn't work for real thick knives or the end of this, because as this goes in, it's only touching from about here forward. I have it angled a little bit, but I can't get in to the groove because of this thick butt part. So I can't start all the way down and get the end. But I can get from here forward, and that's all I use. This thing really gets beat up at the tip because what I'm using this mostly for is slicing open packing tape, especially on the cigar boxes that come in, and you know, the priority cardboard. So this thing gets beat up really in the first inch. I don't use this back cutting surface much at all, and you can see the angle of the cut from here forward is a lot shallower, and that's because I shaped it with this, and the original factory slope was much sharper, half the actual distance back from the cutting edge. So you can see it gets real fat. Well, maybe you can't, but I can see it in the reflection. So I'm only really concentrating on the front part of this knife, really don't care. This is the knife I use the most in the kitchen, and this thing is beat up all the way down. I mean, I use this thing for everything: chopping, slicing, julienning, dicing, powering through bones, whatever. This is my favorite knife. Love the balance of it, and it's just, I mean, the honing's off, the sharpening's off. I can see nicks and divots. I've hit bone with it. It's been on all kinds of cutting surfaces. My plastic boards, my bamboo board. You know, I'm sure the wife has tried to cut on this glass too. So it's in pretty rough shape. It's not cutting things very well at all. See, it didn't really want to start there. The end especially is really bad. Nothing. Now this knife I have probably used once. So it's still factory sharp as a tack. I've never done anything with it. And it starts a lot easier. Nice clean cuts. See, that's what it's supposed to do. So, this is going to get run through, and I've never sharpened this one before, so it's still the factory edge and amount. So this is probably going to take a few more passes through the rough cut just to get it in. And you know it's done because it'll get a lot quieter and easier. Basically the sound will change and you'll hear it grabbing the knife less. It really only takes a few passes because these diamond cutters do a very nice job, and that's really all there is to it. After you get this sounding and feeling the same, you just move on to this, and this is kind of in between of sharpening and honing. It's a very, very fine cut, and it's just knocking off all the rough edges that this one left. And then after that, you just wipe it off because you're going to have a lot of metal dust on it, and then it wouldn't hurt just to steel it a couple times, but this should be leaving you with a very, very razor sharp edge. So let's go ahead and do these two knives and see what kind of results we can get. That should do it. You can see the debris it leaves. That's from cutting the material off, getting back that nice sharp pointed edge. I can see that I have a slight divot down here near the end, and that's probably from some damage that was pretty close to the tip. So I actually want to run this through again, concentrating just on the end here. I want this tip to be as sharp as I can, as sharp as I can get it, and I want this to be a continuous line. So this is primarily because this has never been run through it, so it's reshaping it. So I'm just going to do it once more. And it's still not absolutely perfect, but it should be good enough. There's just a tiny, tiny little bump left in the line. But it looks nice and sharp, and now the edge itself looks more even. You can see there's even more debris on there. So I'm going to wipe that off. Let's see how we did. Oh yeah, like butter. Yeah, I can never hold these right to do this. Newspaper works best. This is actually kind of thick printer paper. But you can see it's going through. Nice clean cut right at the beginning. So now I've got, oh yeah, I could probably shave with this right now. It's razor sharp. There's no rough edges. I do want to run it through my steel. Just to make sure that it's perfectly straight. Alright. So I'm going to move on to this little guy. And that's basically how I sharpen my knives. Nothing fancy. Well, I'm going to head on out for a ride, and I need some music today. When I get back, I'm going to look for a used iPod Touch, because I'm really finding it difficult lately to get the motivation to keep going without some kind of stimulation, without some music. It's so much easier for me to ride with music. I don't want to use headphones or earphones. I used to do that back in the day, but it's just too dangerous. You know, it was different back then because I had a nice bike path to be on, and that would be totally fine if I was riding on a bike path around here, but I'm not. I'm riding in the roads, and you know, my mirror has saved me a couple times. Just being aware of what's going on is critical, so I don't want to wear headphones. So I got to have some music going on. When I'm shooting a video, obviously I can't be using my phone here to play the music, but I have the extra bike mount from, I can't remember the company, Axia? I don't remember. But anyway, I've got something that'll hold an iPhone 5 or the new iPod Touch, so I'll look for used one of those, just to use as a good little music player. That way I can shoot videos with my phone, or the iPod Touch, I guess, and listen to music at the same time. Probably shoot video with the iPod Touch, since I need the LTE connection from the phone to stream music. That's a better idea. But anyway, yesterday, I was shooting the video, doing the ride. Oh, I really wanted to quit after that 2-mile mark. I mean, I was getting tired. It's not the physical thing so much as the mental for me sometimes. That's why I like walking and jogging out at the park, because I'm going through the past and there's always something new, and it's stimulating. It's not just straight down a freaking sidewalk or down a bike path. That is so boring to me. It's not that I have ADD, but yeah, some things are just so boring. I can't tolerate it. And biking in silence is becoming one of those things. I've gone around this neighborhood so many times, I think I can tell you exactly what color each house is in order and backwards by this point. So, the music is becoming more important. That being said, I'm going to look for something to play some music, shoot video. The iPod Touch should be a good solution for that. Should be relatively cheap. They're not that expensive new, but there's no point in buying anything new. This is just going to be a tool. So that's that. Can't think of anything else going on today. Just a normal Monday. Not that Mondays really mean anything to me because I don't have weekends. But yeah, that's it. Mail already came. Showed you how to sharpen knives, and I'm just going to shoot some other videos. I got 2 cigar videos to do today, and I have to write an article for a magazine and finish a shoot. So, just working. Nothing too exciting. See you guys tomorrow. Don't forget to subscribe, give me a thumbs up. See you next time. I almost forgot. One thing I did want to show you guys is how the salmon came out from yesterday. Now, I haven't eaten any of this yet because it's just ready today. The trick with the smoked salmon is you have to chill it. It is best served cold, much like revenge. It is absolutely perfect. This was in for about 2 3/4 hours. Really depends on the salmon itself, how thick it is, what temperature the grill is getting to. what the perfect time is, but you can tell by the color and you can tell by the texture on the grill. I mean, look at that. Just flaky. All the layers just fall right apart. And these are going to just melt in your mouth with that delicious, oily salmon flavor. You can see the color from the smoke there, the little smoke ring, darker pink. Oh, yeah. Beautiful. Extremely healthy. Extremely cheap when you buy it on sale. And just delicious. I love this stuff. That is so good. The only better smoked salmon I've had is from Alaska. That is absolutely to die for, but insanely expensive. Basically, you have to know somebody to ship it to you. But that is a completely different animal. Alright, now we'll see you tomorrow.